Welcome to episode 14 of the Success Show podcast, where we dive deep into the stories and expertise of extraordinary individuals shaping the landscape of their respective fields. Today's episode is with Mr. Sukesh Nayak. He's an ad director as well as the CCO, which is the Creative Chief Officer of Ogilvy. It's a global company that focuses on creating ads for different firms all over the world. I think also this episode was really different for me because, of course, as a kid and right now also being a teenager, I have been always, curious on how these ads are made and, what it takes to make ads and things like that. So I think this, kind of opened up those thoughts, and I was able to, ask a lot of follow-up questions. That's how this episode, was 45 minutes. But I think it was extremely insightful and extremely knowledgeable for me and for people as well who want to get into the ad industry. Before you start watching, please don't forget to like and share this video as well as subscribe to this channel and the Ruhaan Mathreja Shorts channel. Follow me on Instagram at ruhaan.mathreja and at the Success Show podcast. Once again, you're watching the Success Show podcast. Enjoy. Hi, Sukesh Uncle. Thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, it's an absolute honor to finally have you.
Thank you, Ruhaan. It's awesome to be here and do this with you since I've seen you grow up in front of me. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How have you been? I hope everything's okay at home and
Yeah,
work-wise
it's
as
great.
well.
It's fabulous. I mean, it's just all good. Touch wood.
Touch wood. Yeah. Great. So, usually with all my guests, I always start my podcast asking them about, how they got into their particular field and, a bit about their journey so far and, how it has been for them as of now and what the experience has been like. And, so can you tell me a bit about how you got into the ad industry and, was it something that you always really enjoyed or you kind of developed it over a time period? So can you tell me a bit about that?
Very, very interesting question. I think so. This was my hobby. Always in school when I was in boarding and even in college. And I studied economics as a major and had a very different career trajectory in mind, considering that's what all my friends in school were wanting to do, and I was good at it. So I thought I should definitely explore that. And I'm very thankful to a friend of mine whose mother was adamant when I was in college, and she was very. Whenever she met me, she said that I know you will do well with what you intend to do, but maybe this could also be your calling, and why don't you think about it? And the long and short of it is, well, I said, let me give it a try. There's no harm, and I really didn't know much about advertising. Honestly, I had no clue about advertising, and I just saw one day in college there was a notice saying copywriters wanted, and I had no idea what this was. And then, my only exposure to advertising was as a child. I remember back home in winter holidays when I used to go home, there used to be jingle contest, and I used to take part in them, and I used to guess the jingle of an ad. That's all my honestly. That's exactly what I knew advertising. But well, there was a notice in college, and well, they were very kind to give me a. They liked what they probably saw, and I said, you know what? There's a time between going for postgrad and graduation, so let me spend some time and see. Better than
If
doing
you're
nothing and
enjoying
just
it.
yeah, no, but doing something is better than just being idle. And once I got in, I just loved it. I think I can't explain it. It was very interesting journey. And the only thing I keep telling everybody is that it's been a long journey, and I can barely count over the years the number of days where I woke up not wanting to go to work, and that truly shows how lucky I've been to find something that I do, which is so much fun. And I always say
Yeah.
in every interview that you know I really made my hobby my profession, and I'm one of the lucky few to do that. And I guess my learning is whatever it is that you like, and if you can make that your career, because it's a long career. You really have to enjoy what you do. And that's and I've been doing this for over 2 decades now, and I love it.
I think that's really amazing, start you being able to start all the way in college. I mean, the fact that you were presented with the opportunity in the first place is only amazing in itself. Because,
There are
I
many
mean,
people. There are many people who play a part, and I always thank my father, who's a doctor, and it's not easy for parents to watch your children take a step into different direction, which is very unknown territory. Because
yeah,
if you do the traditional line, and you tend to have a you have a better you have a better job prospect. Where the joke is, my pocket money in college was more than my first salary. So my father was very nice, and I remember, poor guy, he just didn't know much about this business, and he all he said, I remember even then, he said that I don't know much about it, but if that's what you want to do, give it a shot. And uh, and I can only promise you that you'll never sleep hungry, or you'll never have a roof over your head. But that's a bit it's a very big reassurance. And
yeah,
it's just that he was so supporting. So a lot goes to your parents also, who actually stand behind your dream, and they help you,
yeah.
and they encourage you. So it's not just that you want to try different things, but it's very equally important how much your parents are
Supportive of
or
it.
understand. Yeah, and understand what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy.
Yeah, because I mean, even I can completely relate with you when you talk about this because it's the same for me. My parents are really
Yeah.
supportive when it comes to everything I do.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
because
because I, Mhm.
daddy wants to make sure that you're absolutely you try it all before you decide what you want to do. And I think
yeah,
that's the trick. We should all try it all. And
yeah,
maybe imagine, I mean, one way could be, this turned out rather interesting for me, and it could have been not so interesting also, but at least I would have tried it out, because if you don't try it out, you never know.
yeah. So, I mean, that was a really interesting, background of how you got into the industry because, especially in a time back then, it wasn't, especially ad or the creative industry in general, whether it be writing or
Very
filmmaking,
few,
making or,
very few. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember the senior of mine from school. He was a very big actor then, and his movie was coming out. His name is Chandrachur Singh. Very nice. He was my and he was telling me one evening that it took him 5 years to get his movie. It was Mani Ratnam's film Rosa releasing, and he said it's damn hard to make a name in creativity. But and
yeah,
maybe if you do banking, probably you could be a banker, and there are more bankers than creative people. And that's what it was 2 decades ago, Ruhan. But I feel the biggest change I've seen now is there are many more opportunities that you
yeah.
can explore in this world of creativity. And there is no hard and fast rule. You can you and lots of young people are honestly trying different things, and it's very nice to see that. It's very nice to see the opportunities have expanded, and people are exploring that. It's good. It's great.
But would you also say that it is slightly harder also in today's day to get into the industry because of the fact that there's so much competition from different firms and different people, and a
Not
lot of
really.
people want to get into it.
I feel the think of it this way. Even the opportunities have expanded. So while
Fair
many more
enough.
people are, so I'll give you a very interesting analogy to it. I was working with a very big music director, and something very nice he told me last year. He said that you don't need to come to Bombay to become a singer anymore. You can be a singer from anywhere in the country, and that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I feel that this internet has actually opened up many avenues now.
yeah,
I see people talking about things that they like, and making a business out of it. So it's not just for fun. It's people making a business out of it. People talking about stocks, people talking about cars, people talking about fashion, makeup. I don't know. I mean, people talking about life goals. So you have many avenues. Cooking, fashion. There's so many avenues. People are sports, coaching. There's
yeah.
so many people doing so many things, and people are reaching out to them, and obviously it is something that works. So yes, there are more people exploring their creative avenues, and that's good. Also, I feel there are more opportunities than before than what it was in my time.
Of course, I think because also people are now more open to these professions, and nothing. It's not like you either
Yeah,
become a doctor, lawyer, or businessman, and there's nothing
no, it's
further than
good to
that.
be.
So
I
yeah,
feel, I always say I've seen my father as a doctor, and I think he loves being a doctor, and he's been a great doctor. So I always tell anybody, whatever it is that you love, being an engineer, doctor, lawyer, you have to love what you do to really do well at it. You can't
yeah,
hate what you do, you will never be great at it. So if you're a
yeah.
businessman, you have to love being a businessman to be an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you'll be wonderful at it. Similarly, you can be a great engineer if you love being an engineer, or a lawyer or a doctor.
The
So I
passion
feel,
has to be there,
yeah,
basically.
the passion has to be there for what you love to do, and I think that will make you push yourself and enjoy yourself, and which is what will make you great. Because if you don't push yourself and if you don't enjoy yourself in the process of it, you will never, you really never will do well.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you. And so now I really wanted to dive a little deep into your industry in particular, and
Sure,
ask you a bit about the ad space. And to
sure.
start off, can you tell me a bit about how an ad is made, and the process behind it, how long it takes, and things like that?
Okay, so in a good thing, in a proper manner way, ad campaign usually works like this. There's a briefing which a client who we work for is done along with the agency, and then the agency is supposed to take the brief, understand the market, and then make strategic direction approaches on the project. Then the client and the agency agrees on the strategic paths that we have chosen. Then that's when the creative thinking begins, because how do you tell that in the most creative manner? How do
Yeah,
you state that objective in the most creative manner is when the creative process happens. Then you go back to the client and you present your creative concepts, and if all agreed and everyone loves it, then you execute the creative concept. Now, creative concept could be many things. It could be a film, it could be a print, it could be a radio, it could be an activation, it could be a social campaign, it could be an influencer campaign, it could be anything. So when I say concept, I'm broadly speaking about just a project. That creative concept is a solve for it. Now that's an ideal
yeah.
situation, Ruhan. There could be sometimes when it's urgent and it's really something happens, and there could be
Need of
an
the hour,
opportunity.
basically.
Yeah, there could be an opportunity in urgency, or there could be emergency of something that's gone wrong, or there could be a great business opportunity that you have probably chanced upon, and something is opened up for you, and you need to make sure that you have to be there before anybody else, and you must make sure that people know about you. So in those scenarios, you crunch the timeline to bare minimum. Sometimes we've gone live in literally 2 days. That fast you've gone. So in those scenario, everyone, all the process that I spoke about, everything just like shrinks to everyone all in a room, and you don't leave the room till you have a solution. And once you have a
Yeah,
solution, you just got to execute it really fast. So there is a proper process, and then there is a short process which depends on that. And everyone has a different working style. I think
yeah.
sometimes all in a room together is a great solution. Sometimes different people with expertise, you know working on the project from different dimensions is also great.
Yeah, I think I also had another follow up on this because after you just said that people have different types of working styles, how are you able to adapt to that? For example, X celebrity has this work ethic, whereas Y celebrity has this work ethic, or other co-workers have this kind of ethic. How are you able to adapt to that and change your approach as per that?
Okay, very interesting question. I think uh, in this creative industry, you work with diversity of talent, but the talent is always married to the core of an idea. An
Yeah,
idea supersedes any kind of talent. The concept supersedes any kind of talent. So each and every talent comes together in the justice or in the execution of the concept. So you have to bring all your diversity, all your differences, all your magnificence, everything together to make that piece of project work, which is in a style that's suitable for all. So we all modify, adapt, and fundamentally, at the end of the day, If you don't put the idea or the concept at the center of it, and if you put, let's say, yourself in the center of it, things will start falling apart, because then you will just serve yourself.
Yeah.
So the you work with diversity of talent, but all the diversity of talent in my business, if you ask me, according to me, comes together in the service of the concept that we are doing. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if when we come together to serve the concept, we create the best work of our life. And the
I
times
think,
when
yeah.
we serve ourselves, I think we create the worst work of our life. So it's as simple as that.
I think that's a very new perspective to me, in the sense that, I've heard this to some extent, but not at the level that you've spoken to me
It's
about.
pretty much it. No, I think of a team sport. I always say it's a team game, right?
Yeah.
Um, this is a team sport. I would say very much a team sport. And there are front. Let's say football. They are back. They're goalkeepers. They are half. Then they are front, whatever, forward.
Striker
So
role.
yeah, everybody. And I think each one is end of the day doing their part to make sure collective might is the best that is there on the table. So and I've always seen, whenever we have played like that, we have won. And I've also seen failure when we have not played like that.
I think that can also that's something I can also relate with, because as simple as, any school project that we have to work in a team for, or any
Yes.
event that we have to carry out, it's very important for us to all, be synchronized and work together
Yeah.
towards that one common goal. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I think I completely agree with you on that.
And we also respect everyone's diversity. We also respect everyone's unique talent. We also respect. So we must respect people for what they bring. For
Yeah.
example, I know somebody who doesn't like to work in the morning. I know somebody who works late at night. So and I'll find a middle ground to work somewhere in the time which is completely workable for both. If I start the project in the morning, then the person at night won't come. So how about in the afternoon? Then
Yeah.
works. So I just think that we have to be a bit fluid, and fluidity works for us, not rigid. The rigid we get, the worse we get. Slightly fluid always works for us, because fluidity kind of takes care of different opinions, different
Yeah.
thoughts. Rigidity doesn't answer that. Rigidity becomes absolutely close to anything. So
Yeah.
sometimes you learn, like we work with younger people now in our teams, and they learn from us. We learn from them. So it's a beautiful journey. I've always have entered every project with a completely open mind, hoping to learn something from it. And every day, I don't think even today, if you ask me after 2 decades of working, I still feel very scared or nervous when I start something, because I know the day I feel confident and absolutely dead certain and surety, I think I will just botch up, because the nervousness is very interesting, that keeps me pushing myself rather than being
Yeah.
very sure of something.
Yeah. I mean, I also wanted to, touch upon the point of the fact that you were at the Cannes Festival as well. And so I wanted to know a bit about your experience over there, as well as, how it felt to be able to represent India as one of the largest firms, to go there, and how was the experience overall for you?
So I've been very fortunate to work for the agency and today lead this agency in this country for 2 decades now, and we have been the number one agency in the country, and also one of the best agencies in the world. So we've been going to Cannes for many many years, and we have won Grand Prix and Titaniums and Best of the Show
Yeah.
and Best Agency. But you know what is so incredible, more than anything else? We come from India. Our work
Yeah.
is Indian. Our work is very rooted in our culture. It serves the community that we are in. And when the world recognizes the work as the best of the best, it's the most amazing thing that you can feel. So your concept from your culture, when it is recognized in the world as the best idea in the world, it is just
Yeah.
amazing. And we have been lucky to experience this over the years multiple times, and it's just wonderful, because it is a competition of ideas from the world, and it really helps, because it's like when you are recognized, when your work from your country is recognized, it really helps a lot. Okay, it really
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. I mean, you just spoke about Indian advertising, so I also wanted to ask you a bit about that in particular. Of the unique. I mean, I think Indian ads are very unique, and they have something different from the rest of the world. So, what do you think makes Indian ads stand out on a global level? Because you just spoke about that as well.
I think we are. It has heart, it has emotion, it has humor, it has storytelling ability. We are quite incredible. That we are quite amazing
Yeah,
that way. So
it's a mix of
so
everything.
yeah, and I think our stories, um, we don't treat it like a business, and I think that's what is. We often get to hear. I'll talk about a campaign that I did about 10 years ago. It was called Google Reunion. And it was a story I remember when I was in boarding school. I heard it, and I connected it to when I was working on a project. And we made this, project. And I remember we had to subtitle it in different languages as the campaign went viral, into French, into Spanish, into German, because people were reaching out. So our work makes people feel something. Our work makes people imagine something and love something, and that's
Yeah.
that's great about it.
Yeah, I think also, the Shah Rukh Khan's My Ad for Cadbury, I think that is one of the very prime examples uh,
Yeah, it's a
of
very,
that.
because we also did a technology first idea, which was first in the world of personalization. And more than,
Yeah.
look at the storytelling behind it. And I remember this was just after COVID, and as a brand we have all the money in the world. All brands have money to hire ambassadors. Every brand has a brand ambassador, and Cadbury works on a platform called Generosity. And I
Yeah.
remember this idea, when I heard this idea, and I was blown away, which was, everyone has a brand ambassador. Why can't my brand ambassador be the brand ambassador for everybody else? And I thought that was just
Yeah.
stunning. And that is when the bravery comes into play, when even your partners who you work with, when they hear the idea, say, hey, we want to do this, it's amazing. And then comes in our cutting edge technology. It was all done by people who we work with. We partner with like tech companies, data companies, and many, like I always have said, Shah Rukh Khan was just incredible to come on the project. And he said, let's do it, and it's great. And I saw the impact of it at ground level, Ruhan. I mean, I'm glad it won so many awards, but I think before it won so many
Yeah.
awards, it won so many hearts in the market. Like, we live in
Exactly.
Bombay, and you go to Juhu Market, and you have a big store that sells chocolate, and that guy knows he'll be taken care of by Cadbury. But what about the guy next to him and the guy on the other side of him? There's nobody to take care of him because there's small stores. So
Yeah.
as a community, I remember the chocolate store owner. He said, "Mere bagal wala dukan mere ad mein hai." That's so much of pride. How
Yeah.
as a country we always chip in to help others, and we
For
have this
unity.
culture of, yes, so helping others, being there for each other. I think that really helps a lot. So
Yeah.
it's just so important to that's the great part of it. And I think that idea. Uh, was again culture first, global in nature, technology, everything put together, and it was wonderful to see it being recognized at such a world class, as an
Level.
event. And it what it did, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when I actually did read about this, I was just picturing Shah Rukh Khan promoting my podcast, and I was like, like the feeling. So I was like, damn. I mean, imagine
So
the other
yeah,
thousands of other small owners who had
but
the
yeah,
opportunity of being able to get him as the brand ambassador.
yeah, absolutely. Just, the I remember this one guy who runs a, I think, a watch store near Santa Cruz Station. And you know what he said? Or a shoe store. And he said, "Shahrukh bhai, कभी भी आपको कोई जरूरत पड़े तो मुझे फोन करना, मैं आपके लिए कभी भी आऊंगा." And that was amazing. That was just brilliant, just brilliant to see. But that's the bigness of heart. You know what I mean? You do something for me, and I will make sure that not that I know for
He's
certain
gonna
that he
need.
will never need
Yeah.
him. Yeah, but just look at the incredible part of that. That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I also wanted to ask you a bit about your experience working with Shah Rukh Khan, and how the idea,
He's
how
amazing.
the
He's
execution
just
was overall.
he's amazing. I think I've been lucky to work with so many people, and they're all great. And I think Shah Rukh is one of the best. He's always open to try things again. The whole idea, like concept first, and everything else later. He's the king of it. He really
Yeah.
buys into concepts, ideas, and then he will do whatever is required for the idea. So once he bought into this idea, he did everything that was to make sure the idea came true in the true sense completely. And he's very generous. Our campaign had I think had a timeline, like any brand endorsement has a timeline. You can use it for 1 year as per legal contract. But I think those 2.5 or 4 lakh people that made ads using his face will use it for the rest of their life. They
Yeah.
will never make an ad campaign again like us. They don't make new ad campaigns every year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, also I feel like it's really, again, like you said, a way to bring India together and
Yeah.
unite people, because if everyone's like, and also I mean it's amazing publicity for Shah Rukh Khan himself also, to be doing something like this. And the fact that you said
No,
he's also super humble is, I
yeah,
think that's really amazing.
yeah. I think his career. I think he's just the roles that he does and the kind of things that he does. He's very open to stuff, and I think that's why he came on board, and it was wonderful to have him. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean I hope at one point he ends up on my podcast too.
I hope so too. All the best. I'm sure you will. Why not?
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, that you've worked with a lot of these celebrities, Subhman Gill, Amitabh Bachchan, and a lot more. I mean, how important do you think of a role do you think they play in the success of an ad campaign in particular? I know, I mean, if they're the face of the brand, but apart from that, how important do you think if you make a brand with a celebrity, and then, or if you make a brand without a celebrity, but that ad is a bit more impactful in terms of the emotion? Can you just tell me a bit about that? Because that's something I've always been curious about.
So
That our
yeah, so it's
celebrities
very
really needed.
okay. So yeah, no, no, no. It's interesting. So I think I would say the other way. I feel that the concept is bigger than anything, and if a concept is bigger, because without a concept, there's no cut through. Please remember. Like
Yeah.
let's take a movie story. Without a story, there's no cut through, right? If all movies are the same, there will be no differentiation. So same thing, and I think when they come and play the role in a concept that is needed by for them to play, those are the ones that stand out. So let's talk about Thanda Matlab Coca-Cola, not done by me, but in the past, Amir Khan, very classic campaign. He played the role, right? So there are many campaigns that you can think of where someone has played not themselves, not as themselves, but as the concept that was there for the idea. And I strongly believe that if you have a concept like this recent one, I remember I loved it again, not done by us, somebody else, that agency called Tilt. It was last year IPL, was so lovely, and suddenly the ad campaign was, if all cricketers are gonna act, movie stars are making cricket team. That's amazing. You ever see the campaign Dream 11? Such a lovely concept. Amir Khan declares he and who else were there? All the guys from
Sunil
Three
Shetty was
Idiots.
also there.
No, no, I'm gonna make a cricket team, and suddenly I'm gonna play cricket. If cricketers are
Huh.
gonna make movies, ads, and it's such a fun piece of work. You have to see it, but at the end of the day, because of the concept, it stands out. There's a concept that makes it work.
Hmm. I think there was also last year there was this ad for IPL only that a lot of us were,
Yeah,
we cracked up on. It was with Sunil Shetty, Preeti Zinta, and all these other cricketers roasting each other and the teams and stuff like that. And I think that was also an amazing concept to integrate the film industry
exactly.
with
So,
IPL together.
if you have a great concept, you will always have a cut through. But without a concept, if you just have a face, very hard to cut through. So this is my point of view, and I strongly believe that you need a concept to cut through, and not
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
face.
I think I completely agree with you on that. So I also wanted to ask you about. So I usually ask all my guests this because my podcast is called The Success Show. So I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of success? How would you define success? I mean, you already said that being able to wake up every day and go do your job
Happiness,
for you is happiness. Yeah.
happiness, happiness. It it is according to me, it is the most defining part of success. If you don't find happiness in what you have done, with what you've achieved, with what you intend to achieve, then there's no success according to me. That's my personal
Yeah.
point of view. Because
No, I
happiness
mean, a lot
is
of people have told me this, that happiness
without
and being
that,
able to do what you love.
because happiness of what you have done so far, what you're made of, what you were given, and what you intend to do, and all of that is fundamentally the entire driving force of your reason for what you're doing. because it
Yeah.
is not a 9 to 5. This is you. It's not 9 to 5. It's like it takes all your time. It takes all your effort, but you have to love it to do it, and you got to
Yeah. I
do
think
other
it's
things
also a
also.
source of motivation for you to
Absolutely
work harder
motivates
and
you. It makes you hungry. It
yeah.
makes you jealous. It makes you competitive. It makes you celebrate your success, others' success. So many things it makes you do because you take happiness out of it. It just will be joyless.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, how do you see the future of the ad industry in a country like India, especially, with AI coming up? Biggest example is the My Ad by Shah Rukh Khan of, being able to use AI. But can you tell me
Yeah.
a bit about that?
Okay, so for me, artificial intelligence is a great tool to play with, and I've never been so when television came, people played with it. When social media came, you played with it. So I feel envious of people like you and your generation who's gonna step into the business, because I
Hmm.
didn't have so many tools to play with when I stepped into business, and I had very few tools to play with. And I call these tools, by the
Yeah.
way, they're not concepts, they're tools, and you must play with tools and you must push the tools to
Leverage
give you more
them.
satisfaction. Yeah, leverage them, because I
Yeah.
have never been afraid of anything, and I don't think fear is a word in my dictionary, because I feel it's the unknown that excites you, and you must be able to. It's all our brains and our mind that fundamentally drives us in what we do. So it's extremely important to be able to push ourselves, to be able to use them, and then do things that never been done, and then to and do them
Yeah.
and do them in a way that are so wonderful. That's what I would do.
Yeah. I think it's a
So
very
I feel,
interesting way of
I,
looking
I
at it.
feel, I feel that the young generation is gonna have, wow, they're gonna have such a blast.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you on that. You know, something for my personal well-being, or anyone out there actually, of how do you balance your work life and family life, and yeah, basically how are you able to cope with the demanding work needs, like you said, that adapting to different people's needs, like someone is a morning person, someone's a night person. How do you, and then you have to of course prioritize your family. So how do you basically put a balance, strike a balance with that? Because even as a student, I'm sure there is a lot that we need to balance out, right? From the smallest thing of sports and academics, extracurriculars and academics. So if you could tell me a bit
So
about that.
I think the biggest thing is discipline. You have to have discipline, and discipline, it really helps you, because then you have to do certain things in a certain way and get them done. And the
Yeah.
second part is partnership. With your family, it's a very open conversation. They must know how you feel about and how you love it. There's nothing to be hidden about what drives you, what and it's a conversation. Your spouse, your partner, your children, they should all know what drives you, what makes you happy. And if you can engage with them in your life, if you can share your life with them, you can talk about it. It's very important to have an open conversation, and make everyone part of your journey. You cannot do this journey alone. And the first and the foremost thing is discipline. I'll tell you something,
Yeah.
which is uh, like you all take summer break, right? So I travel with Ira and Ivan and Sultani. So we all go, and we were in Europe, and I would wake up every morning at 5:30 in the morning when everyone was asleep, and I would do 3 hours of work, because people back in office needed my time. So that was
Yeah.
discipline. Every day from 5:30 to 8:30, 3 hours on the dot. Half the life is done. If you're just disciplined, you can finish it off, because
Yeah.
there are people who depend on you, because you run this country, run this office in this country. So there are people who need your time, and you can't switch off. I would love to switch off, and there are times that I do, but again, discipline plays a very important role. And I knew I had to do it, and I did it for like 2 weeks, and it was perfectly fine, because by 8:30, when everybody woke up, I was able to be with them. So
Yeah.
discipline is the most important thing, Rohan, because without, like sports, right? You play tennis, it's discipline.
Yeah.
You got to make the time. Like you have to make time for your family, for your kids. You got to make time for your health. You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to go, you have to hit the gym, you have to go walk, you have to go be active. Nothing can overtake anything. And if it overtakes, then you got to compensate someday. You got to go. I mean, sometimes I'm traveling, I go to gym in the evening if I have to. If I land, I'm traveling, and I get to the hotel and I have to just go for half an hour. So I feel you have to give back to your health. It's important because otherwise, if you don't have the health, if you don't have the support of your people who are with you, because who care for you the most, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do this non-stop. You
Yeah.
need everybody's support and belief and good luck and charm. Your friends, your family, your kids, everybody.
I think discipline is also about taking that one step further than what others are doing, and being able to maintain that. Not like one day I'm going for
Not
two hours to the
it's
gym,
a
and then
every day. It's
every
every
day.
single
Exactly.
day. It's discipline. Discipline is fundamentally the one word I would love to leave, because I feel if you have discipline, you can just study better, you can play better, you can do things better. Because if
Yeah.
you're not disciplined, it's very hard. It's very hard.
So, I mean, lastly, what would be some any piece of advice that you would give to aspiring students or anyone who would want to enter this industry? And how what I mean, of course, you said that discipline is one very important lesson, but what are some lessons that you would give on how to pave your path into the industry, or how to basically start?
Well, I will have only one comment for you. If you want to get paid for making people laugh or cry or feel something, then this is the business for you. It is something where you really get compensated for doing the things that normally you would say it was a good joke, it was a very provocative thought, it was a friend that who nudged somebody to think some way, or it was a friend who helped somebody do better. If all of this you can imagine you get compensated for, that this is the business for you.
Yeah.
It's human emotions at play, all kind of emotions at play, and it's damn good fun. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that is something that excites you, this is something that you should do.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people watching this will take that into consideration, including me, because if it's not the ad industry, I'll definitely think about that in my
Yeah,
perspective of entrepreneurship or of podcasting. So,
I love
definitely.
the fact, Ruhan, I get to meet so many different kinds of people from different walks of life every single day, and that's something amazing. And for someone like me, it is my oxygen, just to meet people. Some people are great to meet, some people are okay to meet, but I get to meet people. I get to
Yeah.
learn so much. I get to interact with so many people. So it's wonderful to just be, and I totally, and I think I wish you all the best, because
Thank you.
it's you're able to express yourself, put your thoughts through. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I also agree about the fact that I'm able to meet so many people even through this
See,
podcast. Like the
yeah,
biggest lesson through this podcast, or one of them, is networking is super key. The fact that I'm able to, then for example, if I need a job opportunity, I'm able to reach out to 100 different people that I have
yeah,
networked with.
yeah,
Or if I have starting a startup, I'll be like, hey, here's an interesting investment opportunity, or things like that. So
absolutely.
I think I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, just to meet people is wonderful. It's wonderful.
I think to end this podcast, I'd love to do like a quick rapid fire round with you, where I'll ask
Super.
you about 8 to 10 short questions, and then
Go
you can
for
just
it.
answer.
Go for it.
What's one brand you'd love to create an ad for?
One brand I would love to create an ad for. I think, wow, rapid question. One brand I'll create an ad for. Wow. Oh, God. One brand. So a product or any brand? A brand. Existing
Anything. It
brand?
can
What?
be anything. It can be a firm as well. It can be.
I would love to do a Nike ad.
I think Nike also has a lot of unique ads in terms of the way they market their athletes and
Yeah, I would
products
love
as
to
well.
work on one. I've never worked on, I would love to do it.
This is a bit off topic, but what's your favorite Bollywood movie?
DDLJ. Always, always, and always. DDLJ.
What's your favorite ad that you made? Is it the Shah Rukh Khan?
Uh, I would. There are many, but uh, I would say Google Reunion, because for many other reasons. Because it got me into so many amazing conversations that I never ever saw people. It touched people in so many ways. So uh, I would say that would be that would be one of the campaigns I'm very proud of, and there are tons of them, by the way. They're great.
Yeah.
There's a fabulous body of work, but there's something special about that. I don't know.
I mean, that of course can happen with everyone. You have that soft spot for that one project of yours or one
Something, something
anything
about it.
of
I
yours.
think
Yeah.
it did wonders to just to know what you could do, what you're capable of. I guess.
What's one book or movie that recently inspired you?
One book. There's a book called Black Cake. It's lovely. It's a book about. It's a crazy book I just read, and it's interesting. Another book I really love. I think it's become a chemist. What was it called? ChemLab. The book is called. Oh God! It's about this lady who becomes a who's a God. What's it called? Chemistry lab. It's a wonderful book. I think it's already a show on Apple TV now. I
Oh,
can't remember
that's
the
great.
name of it. It's really wonderful that she becomes
I'll
a,
probably end up
you know,
watching the
she,
show over reading because I'm not a
yeah, yeah.
reading fan at all.
It's a book about she's a chemist, and she turns her what do you call those into recipe books. So she basically says that she becomes a super chef, celebrity chef. It's set in the late 70s. Wonderful. It's called the.
Amazing.
It's a wonderful book.
What's one habit or ritual you do before going on set to, or even going to work, if there's anything you have?
Question myself every time whether I have really pushed myself enough or is there something still I can do. Everything is
Uh,
lost, but I will still question it in my head. Is there
yeah,
anything possible that I can do to make it even better than what I
better.
have? Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Any meeting, any discussion, anything. One last window of push. Is
I
there
think that's
anything
amazing.
possible that I could do as a human being that could make a difference? And yeah, that's it. One last push.
If not an ad director, what would you be doing? Any other profession that you enjoy?
Wow, I think I would have become a banker. I guess the way I was supposed to or planning to do, probably been a, probably been a investment banker or something.
What's your favorite tagline from any ad that you've seen?
Just do it, just do it.
Nike.
Just love it because it's so simple. There's no,
Yeah,
there's. I
it's to
mean,
the point.
I think it means so much, and I think it's just so much.
It's
There's a,
impactful.
yeah, there's too much to it. Yeah, too much to it. I think it's lovely.
If you got $10 million tomorrow, what would you spend it on?
$10 million. That's a lot of money, man. I would probably buy. I would invest 3/4 of it to never have to work ever again, and then use the 1/4 of it
To
to
enjoy.
to enjoy. Yeah,
Lastly,
lovely.
if you could go back in time to, give your 18-year-old self, or rather 17-year-old self, because I'm 17, if you could give your 17-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would think I would just be exactly how I was. The I had dreams the size of God knows what. I had the confidence, humility to be afraid also, but I just knew and I wanted to always push every single limit. And I'm happy that, and if I look back and I said, "Well done, young man. You
That's
didn't,
amazing.
you didn't shy away, or you didn't settle, or you don't. So just don't settle." Is what was my. You must try, and then figure your way around it rather than. So I would just, yeah, it was hard because like we spoke about, in those days to take this path was not the easiest, not the most common path
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
world where all your friends were doing something which was more expected.
And
So
accepted by the society
yes,
overall, I
yeah.
mean.
So yeah, like my sister, you met her. She was an NDTV journalist. So there should be every evening on primetime television, and my father would say, "What do you do exactly?" Very hard to explain to somebody what do I do for a living, because, so. But I'm glad that the younger me didn't settle, and I would just tell my younger self that, uh, keep it keep it going. It'll all come.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll all come through, and it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that is some kind of deep advice also for me to keep in mind of, not settling for nothing less than perfection or nothing less than what
You
I
have
want to
to,
achieve, and have to just
and you
keep
have to
pushing
try.
for better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you have to try, because, and I also was very fortunate because I didn't have the worries of a 17-year-old who come from a tougher background. I was fortunate to be financially better
Stable
off than
and
others, and I
yeah.
didn't have to worry about things that others have to worry about. But even then, I was settled, because there was one part that was accepted, normal, difficult for sure, because you still have to study hard and get to the best universities and do your thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to take the other path and to be open to what's going to come around the corner with no idea was just, um, quite a journey. But I had a
Yeah.
blast.
I'm
It's been the
glad.
best ride. It's been the best ride of my life. I think I couldn't have done it any other way. No chance.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, this is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for your
Superb.
valuable time, Uncle. Thank you
No,
so
absolutely,
much.
Ruhan. Lovely for having me over, and it was lovely chatting with you, and all the best. And
Thank
so
you.
nice to
Thank you
see
so
you
much.
and hear your voice all cracking up, becoming a man. Amazing.
I look forward
I
to
hear
staying
you are
in touch.
I heard you're 6'3", 6'2". How tall are you now?
I think close to 6'1". I think I
Oh
haven't
my God!
even measured at this point.
I think you will shoot Mamu also. I have a feeling. I have a
Let's
feeling
hope.
the way you're going.
I mean, I don't
Let's
want to
hope.
grow too tall. Also, I mean, his
Yeah,
height is, I think, perfect. Is what I feel.
yeah. Of course, you love him,
Yeah.
right? So his life is perfect. No, I'm sure. Lovely, lovely seeing you, Rohan. Take care. Bye bye.
You too.
God
Bye
bless.
bye.